Good day on today, church. It's Pastor D. Harris coming at you with our words of inspiration for our day 2 of Holy Week. The gospel records in Matthew chapter 21, verse 18 says, "Now in the morning, when he had returned to the city, he became hungry. Seeing a long fig tree by the road, he came to it and found it nothing on it, except for leaves only. And he said to it, 'No longer shall there ever be any fruit from you.' At once the fig tree withered." Understanding this text, that as we see on day 2 of Holy Week, that as Jesus has prepared to come into the city to have something to eat, the scripture says that he saw a fig tree and he became hungry. It's amazing to see how many of us want to fast during Holy Week. But Jesus became hungry on his last 7 days here on earth. And he saw a fig tree. And as travelers in antiquity, it would always be for them to be able to eat fruit from the tree, figs, while they were traveling, because it was a nice gesture to those who were travelers. Jesus sees that there's nothing on the tree but leaves, and he cursed the tree and said that there would never be any more figs on the tree. The disciples were looking at it, amazed and wondering how that this happened. Well, the figs, the fruitless tree with only leaves on it, represented the lives of the scribes and the Pharisees and these religious leaders who looked really well and had like they had it all together on the outside, but on the inside, they had no fruit. They had no God. Jesus curses this tree, but he curses it during a season where figs are not supposed to grow. But let this be a lesson to you and me, brothers and sisters, that as children of God, we are always called to bloom, even in dry seasons. They had looked well on the outside, but they had no fruit on the inside. They looked alive on the outside, but they were dead on the inside. Stories told about a lady named Miss Fiera Kaufman who lived in Michigan, and she was a lady who actually did everything together, precise, in order. She allowed all of her bills to be drafted, her mortgage, her car note, insurance, everything. And she was from Germany, so she liked to take a lot of trips in and out of town. Her neighbors, everyone knew this. Her neighbors would keep her grass cut. Everything would be immaculate and well. And she was a well-to-do lady. But then all of a sudden, the money ran out. The mortgage company could no longer draft her money. She stopped paying her car note. So suddenly her house went into foreclosure within that year. And when it went into foreclosure, the bank sent the workers over to go and see was there anything that they could do to help fix some repairs in the house. And as he went in to change a light, he went to the garage, and all of a sudden he looks in the car and see Pierre's mummified body sitting in the car with her keys in the ignition. She had been dead for 5 years, and no one had heard from her. But everything on the outside still looked as if she was alive, but she was inside of her house, the garage, dead for 5 years. Everything looks perfect on the outside, but inside she was dead. Brothers and sisters, don't allow that to be said about our lives. God tells us that we ought to have a tree that bears fruit. We have the fruit of the Spirit. Don't let us look like Christians, but on the inside, we have no God in our heart. We don't want to be cursed by God. We want to be blessed by God. This is day 2 of Holy Week.